yesterday and overnight, rescuers have worked tirelessly to help those trapped by the floodwaters. In the early hours of this morning, authorities evacuated...
As floods continue to ravage many parts of Britain, northeast Lincolnshire, including Grimsby, Immingham and Cleethorpes, some businesses in the serious incident can only hope their insurance will cover them to get back up and running. Others are still trying to keep going.
I've got to open the chip shop. That's the one shop that's actually dry, but apparently it's going to rise into there soon.
There's about 7 inches of water floating around in the bar at the moment.
In June 2007, heavy flooding devastated many parts of the UK. The city of Hull in particular was badly hit. More than 14,000 homes and businesses were flooded, and all but one of the city's schools were damaged. One life was tragically lost. The floods left a huge mark on the city. Outside of London, Hull is still the city in the UK with the highest risk of flooding. Because of this risk, the Living with Water Partnership was created in 2017. The Environment Agency, local councils and Yorkshire Water came together to invest in defences for the city and surrounding areas. I'm Donna Spakowski from the Internal Communications team, and in this podcast I'm speaking to Lee Pitcher and Lindsay Pilmer from the Living with Water team to find out more about what the partnership has achieved and what they have in the pipeline for this year. Lee Pitcher is the General Manager for Living with Water. Lee, can you tell us how the partnership is thinking differently?
So, in my experience of working at Yorkshire Water, I would always think, in the past, I've always thought more traditionally about what would Yorkshire Water need to do to reduce flood risk. And that would be very much focused on the sewer network. If you put yourself in a customer's shoes and think about it, well, actually, the little boy or the little girl that's currently sat in that house that's flooded aren't thinking about Yorkshire Water coming out and solving the sewer problem. They're just wanting somebody to come out and take that flooding away or not let it happen in the first place. So this partnership's really different because this is about saying, actually, this is not about Yorkshire Water sewer network, and it's not about the Environment Agency's river research, and it's not about the local authorities' highway drainage. This is actually about how we can work collectively and just take responsibility for that water, and how do we collectively make sure that we reduce the risk of flooding.
So we know that Hull is a big strategic risk within the UK. How are we helping residents with their personal resilience?
We need to think about how people like to be educated. And one of the big things that we've learned from the City of Culture work is that people in Hull like to come out to events, but they like to communicate on a one-to-one basis and speak to people, as well as a whole growing community of people that really like to use their iPads and social media as well. So a lot of our way of building personal resilience has been about using the social platforms as well as doing our best to get out and talking to people individually. Through getting people out, what we've been able to do is start to teach people about building flood plans in particular. So in the same way as that my children will come home and talk to me about having a fire plan for the house, what we're doing in Hull, where there's a major risk, potential risk of flooding, is to make sure that each home has a flood plan. So that when the children go home from school, they can teach their parents or their guardians about what you could do if you hear that there's a potential flood risk or a potential big rainfall event coming, and how you can either protect your home or de-risk the impact of flooding to the house.
Lindsay, do you want to tell us a bit about your role in the team?
Yes, hi Donna. So I work on the lead for the communication and engagement across all the partnerships. So I meet regularly with East Riding, Hull City, Environment Agency and ourselves and all our comms team to go through what we have in the pipeline, what press releases are going out to make sure that we have a consistent approach with the Living with Water message.
And what has the partnership achieved so far? Can you tell us a bit more about how the investment has made a difference?
Yeah, so people already feel a lot more protected than they did in 2007. Working in a partnership means that we have gained a better platform of commitment. So not just a commitment from Yorkshire Water, but a commitment from East Riding, Hull City and the Environment Agency to really tackle flooding. As you know, water has no boundaries. So thousands of properties have now been reduced the flood risk because we've completed major schemes such as the Bransholme Pumping Station, the Willoughby and Derringham Flood Alleviation Scheme and the Albert and William Wright Dock flood defences. We're also looking at the Environment Agency of putting in some more Humber frontages, and actually all the investment has helped us, but also on a global scale. We are actually part of the 5 resilient cities, and that helps us share best practice to what other people are doing, whether that's Cape Town, who are going to be the first world country to actually run out of water, through to Miami, which suffers tidal flow and tidal flooding. So again, it's a lot of best practice, a lot of sharing, and we really have achieved a lot. That's not to say there's a long way to go, because we have to do more, but we're really excited about doing that in this year and into the future.
So what was the most exciting or interesting project that you worked on last year?
So the Ultimate Challenge was an amazing 3-day event where we really engaged with the public across Hull in a large obstacle course, which you'll have probably seen quite a lot of media about. But getting to know the project, getting to know my team, has been one of the most interesting things over the summer and into the autumn last year.
So Lindsay, can you tell us what is planned for the partnership in 2019?
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of chances to share the story some more on a national platform. So we're going to be attending conferences and speaking events. More regionally, there will be educational events where we're getting out into the schools to discuss the water cycle, because the Living with Water message and the bedrock of Living with Water message is that people should not fear water but live with water. And being the second most vulnerable city after London, we want people to understand and learn to live with water in a better environment. We're gaining involvement across the business and the public in the region, so we're doing a lot of sharing best practice and getting out and really getting the message of living with water in 2019.
Thank you to Lee and Lindsay for talking to us, and join us in part 2 where we talk to Hull resident Jerry Dipnell. Jerry tells us how she was impacted by the floods and how 12 years on, the partnership is helping to build confidence about living with water in the community.